I got a phone call yesterday. Really, it started with an email, and I set up a time to talk to someone who was interested in joining my standers group. This gentleman, like many others, calls me and says, "You're what I've been looking for. No one else believes in standing for marriage, and I want to join your group." So he went on and started discussing all the reasons why he needed to fight for his wife, how he was going to continue to do so, how their marriage was valid, how she didn't think so, and she was running off, and so on and so forth. As he's talking, he mentioned something about his first wife. And I said, Is this is your second marriage? Are you Catholic? Was that annulled? No, I'm Protestant and I had a first wife. And I said, "What about your first wife? Did she have a first husband?" "Nope, nope. I was her first and she was my first." I said, "Listen, you're validly married to her." And he was like, "What?" I said, "Perhaps God is giving you an opportunity because the second person, which is basically legalized adultery, if you no longer sleep with that person, you're no longer guilty of any sin." Well, of course, because he was Protestant, I had to go into it and explain. He goes, "Well, my first wife cheated, and so there's the out clause for that." No, there is no out clause. If there were an out clause, Jesus would have told us. He never said, except for the cases of infidelity. He said, unless the marriage was illicit. I've done videos on that. I'm not going to go into it again. What Jesus did in that verse in the Bible in Matthew is say, unless no marriage existed in the first place, he was talking about annulment. Annulment is basically saying, yeah, there was no marriage, so you don't have to worry about it. But I'm not doing that in this video. My point in this video is just how blind we can be, how much we are all potentially able to suffer from cognitive dissonance. You see, it was easy for him to understand how you should fight for a marriage, but he couldn't apply that to his first marriage because he'd made up his mind. Not her, her. Each of us is just as easily persuaded, perhaps, if we don't do our research. We can all lie to ourselves, but truth is truth, and we will one day stand before God, and we will one day need to answer. Well, I wanted to stand for my second, my first, and you knew you were married to your first wife. You can't argue with God. Your tail will be between your legs, your head will be bowed, and you will just say, "I'm sorry." I don't do what I do because I want daily to have the messenger shot. I do it because God called me to do it. I had to understand it in my own life first. I have family members who are in invalid so-called marriages. They don't necessarily like what I have to say, and I get a lot of eye rolling. But they always stop because they have no argument back. But this man was like, "Well, that's just bull." And he said the whole word with 4 letters at the end of that. Anger. Rather than saying, "I'll go look into it. I will seek truth." Jesus said, "Seek and ye shall find. Ask and the door, it will be given to you. Knock and the door will be opened. But seek and you shall find." If you find yourself in the position of this man, ask God in the privacy of your own prayer time. God, if I'm misled, show me. Show me truth. Help me to be open-minded to see it. Because if you do really want to see it, he'll show it to you, but it doesn't mean it's going to be easy. I know it's not easy for this gentleman who called me. He's in a painful situation. My job is just to give you truth and help guide you along the way. If you need help, you know where to find me. Christine@breakfastwithbacon.com. I'm Dr. Christine Bacon. Thanks for watching this informational Bacon Bit. And as always, remember to live your life sunny side up.